All right, hello, welcome back. Another episode. As always, every week. Um, I'm out of intros to give. It's been too many episodes, so we'll just jump in, have the guests introduce themselves.
Hey, what's up? I'm TRIDENTtail. I'm a streamer, speedrunner. Been doing it for a while, since about 2015. I'm from Canada. Probably my biggest claim to fame is at one point I was really good at Diddy Kong racing. I once held the world record on a couple RTA categories, like 100%, 80%. To this day, I still think I have like a couple IL world records. I got a couple world records in some miscellaneous categories, but yeah. And then other than that, I've speedran numerous other games, some pretty popular, some more obscure. And yeah. Right now, kind of my big streaming project is I'm endeavoring to play through pretty much all of the N64 catalog with a few exceptions. And we're raising money for a great charity as well called Rainbow Railroad. So yeah, maybe we'll chat about that a little bit later. But
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, that's pretty much uh, the gist,
The intro.
the intro.
All right, well, I still have never played DKR. Someday, I
That's
know.
a crime.
Dude,
It's a crime. It's so
so many
good.
people have come on here and talked about their speed game, and it's a popular game, and I'm just like, yep, still haven't played it. My backlog is hundreds of games. It is on it,
I
but
I I hear you. I hear you, man. I hear you. And I'm getting older. I'm 34. So the time to game is just dwindling.
hmm.
So
And you want to like put
I,
in all the effort into the speed running because how long can you do that for, right?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, I still enjoy it very much. Obviously, I'm taking a bit of a break from it from now, but
Hmm.
I'm already thinking of what I'm gonna do after I finish this current project that I'm on. So I want to get back into it, and we'll see. But I mean, yeah, just the time. You got
Yeah.
so many more responsibilities, and you have to adult, and time to game is getting less and less.
Yeah. Truly a tragedy, but what can you do?
Yep.
Well, I'll go ahead and ask the first big question of how everything started for you.
Everything started for me.
Hmm.
Um, it's funny because I had an idea of what speedrunning was before getting turned on to the community. I want to say like when I was really young, I was already like speedrunning Super Mario 64 in a way. Like I knew the BLJ glitch and I knew that you could finish that game with 16 stars or whatever. And and I thought it was just like a cool party trick. It's like, hey, I can beat Super Mario 64 in like 30 minutes or what however long. Um and then I don't know like exactly how I got into it. I want to say like when I was an undergrad in university, I I think I was just looking for like a video of like a playthrough video of some probably Ocarina of Time. And and I saw I think it was a task video and it just like blew my mind and I was just like like this is not real, right? They're not playing this like on N64 like this is just like it's fake or whatever. And then I guess from there I kind of through the algorithm got turned on to the GDQ videos and I was watching that for like almost 2 years. And then after about 2 years of like watching back all of those old classic runs and I actually caught two GDQs I think live on Twitch. I was like, okay, I'm going to try this. I'm going to give it a shot. And that was in 2015 is when I started. And yeah, I didn't know what to run. I just knew that there was like games that I really liked and that nobody was really running, so I was like, okay, let's try this. It ended up being like World Tour, I think, which is like a really silly Tony Hawk knockoff type game. But no one was running that. I was like, okay, well, like I don't have anybody to compare myself to, so like this would be an easy way to get into it. And I was also speedrunning Pokemon Red, I think, as well, which is a long speedrun, but in terms of like, there's not really like any tech or anything to learn. You just kind of like it. You just follow the route, and yeah, and that's kind of how I got my start. And then probably shortly after that, I got into DKR, which is like my introduction to actually learning like tech and a little bit of glitches and tricks. And then yeah, I speed ran that for a little bit, was doing some other stuff. And then it wasn't until an IRL event that I met another DKR runner by the name of Praxity. And never met him before, didn't know that Diddy Kong Racing was on the schedule, but he showed up and I was like, hey, I have like a little bit of knowledge about the run. Do you want help commentary? And he was like, sure. So commentated the run, and I was just super impressed with how good he was at Diddy Kong Racing that I kind of, from that moment on, I was like, okay, I'm going to focus on this and get really good. And then I kind of just focused on that for 10 years.
Well, there you
So,
go.
yeah.
So humble beginnings, as always.
Yeah. hmm
I'm guessing those early games didn't have much to well, I guess honestly, ground floor means discovery, right? I don't know how much there was to discover, but
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like I'm not really one to go like glitch hunting or anything like that. When it comes to like World Tour, it was more just like routing, trying to figure out how to do the objectives, like in what order to do the objectives the fastest. So like not a lot of tech, not a lot of glitches, just a lot of routing. Pokemon, I don't know, since I ran it, Pokemon has changed a lot. So I don't know exactly. I don't even remember. Um, like I think it was just like all routing and luck. There's a lot of luck in Pokemon
is
speedruns,
there?
but I think so. I think there's a lot of
I
luck.
think maybe.
Although I'm pretty sure you can manipulate everything now, so it's
Oh yeah,
probably not
fair.
as bad as it used to be. But that was actually like that all that stuff happened like after I kind of got out of the game of Pokemon speedruns, but yeah. And maybe I was like a little intimidated too, because when you see some of the crazy stuff, like I watched a lot of Ocarina of Time speedruns, and that's gonna kind of distort your view of like glitches because everything just looks so complicated. There's complicated setups, and we're talking about like frame perfect tricks and yada yada yada. And so like just starting out, like it was very daunting. So I kind of gravitated towards games where I didn't have to learn so much tech and so many glitches. And I guess in a way, Diddy Kong Racing was kind of like the perfect um kind of like first step into that world because the glitches and the tricks in that game are relatively simple. And so yeah, so then slowly gained more confidence in being able to actually learn tricks and stuff. Even at one point, I did learn. It used to be called no item manipulation, no wrong warp for OOT, but I think the name's changed since then. But just a super heavy glitch heavy run that I think it took me like 3 months to learn, and then when I finally finished it, it was like one of the most satisfying things I've ever done. But
So the grind is just to
yeah,
finish the run.
yeah. No, actually, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Because like really, any trick could kind of like kill it. And there's some tricks that like you have to do them or you can't complete the run. So yeah, I mean, I think the first time, like, it took me quite a few attempts to even just like finish the first one because OT speedrunning is no joke.
Oh, I've heard
It's
many
yeah,
stories.
yeah.
Which, again,
I,
another game I don't know too much about, which is funny given how popular it is, but everything I hear about it is just, yep.
yeah,
That
and
sounds
it's
like a
and
lot.
it's constantly changing too. Like if we're talking about a game that's constantly changing, like ZFG's back at it right now because they've just discovered something new, and a part of me wants to go back and like give it a try again, but like not only has it changed so much from when I did it last, but also like it's constantly changing and I don't again, I'm getting old and I don't want to have to learn new things all the time, keep updating strats. So it's always on the back burner, but who knows, maybe one day.
Yeah, definitely a complicated project, and
Yeah.
it only gets more complicated.
Yeah.
But sounds like DKR in the early days was maybe not as complicated.
No, it was pretty straightforward. And even like when I was getting into DKR, um like I started off with all trophy races, which is just a very simple category. You just go through all 20 races. And so you don't have to be super knowledgeable about the tech. You don't have to, do all the out of bounds glitches or whatever. There's 3 out of bounds glitches on 3 tracks. So you could just play the game and you can finish a run and it's like super easy to get into. And
Is it the equivalent of like a Mario Kart All Grand Prix?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
that's exactly what it is. Yeah. So like starting out with DKR speedrunning like is dead simple. You just race and have fun and you can put up a time. But then the other thing about Diddy Kong Racing is they also have the adventure mode,
Mhm.
which then kind of once you've gotten a hand on the racing, I mean that's the most important part in a racing game. Uh, but then once you go into the adventure mode, then we start to introduce a whole lot of like routing, and there's mini games as well that you have to play um, in the adventure mode. So we're getting into developing strategies on how to complete those mini games as fast as possible. And there's some really interesting stuff there too, with dealing with the CPUs and their behavior. And there's more glitches too about like specifically getting the trophy races. We have our own wrong warp. There's a wrong warp in a racing game,
Hmm.
and so. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, you can when you're first starting out, you can just play it straight. Even adventure mode, you don't have to worry about like the routing too much. You can just start with one world, do everything there, go to the next world, do everything there, so on, and you can just do it super linear. Um, but then you can start to implement little by little these different tricks and strategies that kind of uh, make the route a little bit more interesting. So yeah,
So definitely that's the beginner category, and then when you get into the adventure mode, things get a little wild.
yeah, they definitely can. I mean, um, yeah, I'm not sure. You're not very familiar with the Diddy Kong
I've
Racing, like.
seen bits and pieces, but yeah,
Mm,
I'm not too familiar with like the structure of the mode and then everything that's involved in the tech.
gotcha. Well, I mean, in a nutshell, it's just like there's 47 gold balloons that you have to collect, and you get one after completing each race. And then there's also like a coin race version as well. So you have to pick up collectibles on the track and finish in first place.
Hmm.
So there's those, and then there's also boss races as well. So there's a boss for each world, and each one has like kind of their own little gimmick. And then there's also the trophy races, which are also built in. So after you've done everything in a world, then you can go and do the trophy race. And yeah, as I said, you can, if you're just starting out, you can choose to do it super linear, just beat world by world. But when you've implemented all of the tricks, the route is actually wild because um, we pretty much start out by doing most of the first world, except for the trophy race, and then we'll go back and forth between worlds. And then when basically the main trick that really jumbles up the routing is we have a trick called trophy storage, which involves a wrong warp, and it's super crazy that this even exists. But if you go to the first trophy race, which has like the shortest tracks, on the last race of that trophy race, you can actually get out of bounds, and then there's like a mysterious loading zone that you can just fly into, and it will take you back into the overworld. And then from there, you can go to a different world, finish a race there, and then it will give you the trophy for that world. So not the world that you started with, but the world that you um, inevitably finished in, which is super convenient because, like I said, the first world, all the races are super short. So you can just go back and do that over and over again and then use the trick to go to a different world and get that world's trophy. So because of that, the routing becomes crazy and we're flipping back and forth between different worlds. And there's also, if you're playing on the Japanese version, which most of the top runners do, when you warp out of that last race, you can actually warp to different locations, which can also influence the routing. So it's honestly like super wild. It's a really really interesting speed run. It's way more than just racing around a track. That's why I love it so much.
Hmm. And it was always, I've heard, unique for having like the open world kind of thing. Obviously now Mario Kart World's out, but for a long time it was like the only kind of like cartoony racer that had an open kind of world structure mode that I could
Yeah,
think of
I
anyway.
mean, I haven't played much of Mario Kart World, but yeah, it's there is that like open concept. And as far as I know, in Mario Kart World, there are like little challenges that you can just drive around, and there's challenges that you can um,
Yeah, just a few hundred.
get into. Just a few. Okay, so there's
Just
a
a
lot
few
more
hundred. Yeah.
than I thought. But yeah, Diddy Kong Racing was kind of like the first game of its kind, and yeah, I mean it doesn't seem like too far of a stretch, like you've got your classic platformers that have these like overworld type locations, and then you go off to different worlds, and uh, and I feel like the game was developed by Rare, so Rare is really really good at making platformers. They've made some of the best platformers in my opinion, that have like all these unique worlds. And so yeah, so I guess their approach to a racing game was just to kind of take those that some of those platforming elements and bring them into a racing game to create this kind of like larger world. And yeah, I don't know, but it's really cool. I wish they did that more often. I'm surprised that
Yeah.
it took Mario Kart this long to even do something like
Yeah.
that, but
I was
yeah.
waiting for my whole life for Mario Kart like this. So, and I always knew about Diddy Kong Racing. Was like that has what I want. I should do it. Just never have yet, but someday, someday for sure. But not yet.
Yep, got to get through the backlog.
Oh yeah, it it'll take a while. And you're constantly adding more stuff to it, and it's a never-ending cycle of madness. But
Yep.
it'll happen, probably, hopefully. It's a lot of games.
Yeah. There's a lot of time though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, presumably.
Yeah,
Yep.
we'll see how it goes. So that's I get. Is there anything else as kind of like a intro to how the run works, or
An intro to how the run works.
yeah, like we're kind of talking about the basics. Is there anything else worth knowing to try to understand the run a little better?
Um, I mean, yeah, I could talk about like the funny thing is I've played a couple racing games and there's something about Diddy Kong Racing, like the mechanics of Diddy Kong Racing that are actually surprisingly deep.
Mm.
Um Again, like one of the reasons why I feel like I've been locked into this game for so long is because it has like a really low barrier for entry. You can really just like pick up and play and you can put up a time. But the skill ceiling is like infinite. Like you can constantly keep improving because the mechanics are so deep. I mean, the main thing that you might have heard is we actually tap the A button instead of just holding it down. And there's like if I were to throw up the speedometer while I was doing that, if I was just holding it down, you would see that it would kind of peak at a certain point. But if I start tapping the A button, you'd get these like spikes in the speedometer. Um, and so people were just doing that for a while. And then we realized, oh, that if you tap in a certain rhythm, then you're gonna maximize kind of the speed there. So it's not just tapping. Now we have to tap in a certain rhythm. So you're kind of locked into trying to match this very specific rhythm. But now, as of recent, it's gotten to a point now where Diddy Kong Racing is the frame rate is variable. It kind of mostly hovers around 20, but can go up to 30 and can go as low as like 12. Sometimes it chugs pretty hard. But that would affect your A tapping, right?
Mm. Yeah.
So some of the top runners now are able to kind of recognize at which sections of the course they're anticipating they're going to get maybe a lag spike or maybe they're going to have no lag. And so they will adjust the rhythm of their A tapping depending on what they're seeing on the screen, whether they're getting more lag or less lag, which to me is nuts because I'm just sitting here just like A tapping just the same rhythm the whole time.
Hmm.
But they're able to figure out, you know, they have in their mind, they're able to recognize in real time, oh, I should be tapping a little bit slower here for this like 1 second of the race. I don't know. It's wild to me. I'm probably not doing a very good job of explaining it, but that just kind of goes to show it's like you can hold the A button. There's nothing wrong with that. Or you could, and then you could go up one level and you could just try to tap in a steady rhythm. And then, like, if you want to be super advanced, then you can start to kind of understand what causes lag in the game, what what kind of reduces lag in the game, and then adjust your A tapping accordingly. And that's just A tapping. We're not talking about the other types of tech that's in the game.
That's just going forward.
Yeah, that's just going forward.
So what kind of is
Um,
the rhythm for it then?
so when the game's running at its like usual frame rate, which is around 20 frames a
Mhm.
second, um, then you want to be tapping about 5 times a second. So I don't know what the
Mm.
BPM is on that.
And are
People
they
have
like quick
tried.
taps?
It's not a mash. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, when I have kind of people have kind of said like, "Oh, I don't want to get into that because mashing the A button for an hour and 50 minutes, if you're really good,
Mm-hmm.
um, that just sounds like too taxing." Um, and then you have to kind of like adjust expectations, be like, "Well, it's not really a mash. I'm not mashing the A button. I'm It's kind of like a moderate tap."
Mm-hmm.
So 5 times a second seems like a lot, but actually it's not that
Yeah,
much.
that's not terrible.
Um, and the other funny thing is that like the better you get at the game, the less A tapping you do, because when the other kind of important tech is the boosting. So you have the zippers, right? I'm sure Mario Kart
Mm-hmm.
players are familiar with the zippers. Um, but another interesting thing about Diddy Kong Racing is that they don't have like kind of a communist item system, if you will. They have these like items that are color coded, and if you drive into that color balloon, you're going to get the same power up. And one of those power ups is a boost. Um, so you can create these routes around the track that will um, chain together zippers and boosts from the balloons. And while you're boosting, you're actually letting go of the accelerator. So you're not touching A at all. Because if you were to touch A, then you're actually throttling the boost speed that you get. Um, so if you're boosting as much as possible, you're actually not touching or tapping the A button at all. So yeah, the better you get, the less you have to A tap.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that's just like another example of like, um, kind of slowly getting better with the mechanics. Because initially, you're afraid of crashing. You don't want to hit any walls or anything like that. So your tendency is to hit the A button too soon after a boost, and you're not getting the full extent of the boost, right? But then slowly over time, as you gain more experience, you can start to manage your boost speed a little bit better, and not have to choke off too much of that speed. Anyways, so yeah, there's uh there's a lot of really deep tech in Diddy Kong Racing.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I know like Mario Karts have some tech here and there, but a lot of it,
Mm-hmm.
and each game's different, and a lot of it relies on kind of the skips and stuff. But I don't think any of them have like a tapping rhythm you need or that kind of stuff. So it sounds unique in that regard.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like you'd think that I would be uh, that I would have at least tried Mario Kart speedrunning,
Hmm.
but I
Yeah,
don't know
we.
anything about the tech in that one.
Yeah.
I could be just blowing smoke. Maybe Mario Kart has some pretty deep tech, but I don't know. From my experience playing it, it didn't seem as in depth as Diddy Kong Racing, but I could be wrong.
Hmm.
Maybe I'll have to give it a shot and see what if there's actually any the whole how the whole mini turbos work. I don't really understand,
Yeah.
but maybe something to look into in the future.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure depending on who you ask, the answer might change as well.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, like I mean the same thing with Diddy Kong Racing too. Is like we have so many runners now who have been playing the game for years, and people play it different ways. They have different philosophies. They have different approaches to how they play, and no one seems to really have completely figured it out. So yeah, it's super interesting.
Well, speaking of what I was saying with Mario Kart, how it has more of like a skip reliance. How did the skips work in this game?
Um, so we do have some really cool out of bounds tricks. So one of the as you might know, there's 3 different vehicles in Diddy Kong Racing, right? You have the car, the hovercraft, and the plane. Now the plane is really unique in that you can perform barrel rolls, and when you perform a barrel roll in the plane, you're actually generating boost. So it's the only vehicle where you can actually generate boost without hitting zippers or collecting boost balloons. Um, and the other interesting thing about barrel rolls is that once you trigger one, you're kind of locked into this animation. And so when you trigger a barrel roll in a very specific part of a track, you could potentially go out of bounds. In fact, um, I think there's only like 2 tracks, or actually, no, there might only be 1 track that we haven't found an out of bounds for yet for plane. Um, but some of those don't have plane as the default vehicle, and when you're playing adventure mode, you can only play plane on its default track. So there's only 3 out of bounds clips in like over the course of a typical RTA speedrun. But you can use these barrels to clip out of bounds, and then you can perform kind of like some shortcut braking stuff. You can navigate the track in a more efficient manner. You still have to hit certain key spots in the track, much like Mario Kart. Like
Mm-hmm.
you have to hit some key checkpoints. But if you do that while staying out of bounds, then you're good. You can still complete the race in a much faster fashion than if you were to drive the course normally. Um, so yeah, it's really cool. As far as I'm trying to think of like, it has been a little bit since I speedran it, which is actually not good because I should be preparing for a showcase coming up soon. So I need to get back into it. But I think those are the only out of bounds tricks. There's a really cool checkpoint manipulation in the first boss. The first boss, his name is Tricky, and you basically just like drive up this spiral mountain. Something about rare and
Mm-hmm.
spiral mountains. They like their spiral mountains. Um, but we found a little while ago that if you turn around and drive through like the back corner of the like the starting line, there's like a checkpoint that corresponds with a checkpoint that occurs after the finish line. And if you can latch onto that checkpoint and you start to drive up the course, the checkpoints will actually start to count down until it reaches the checkpoint that corresponds with the finish line. And you can finish the track in like 12 seconds when normally it takes like 55 seconds. So that one's probably like the biggest like skip, if you will, in the game.
Hmm.
It's pretty cool.
And then do the out of bounds glitches, or is the execution difficult?
Um Again, like it depends on your like comfort level, I guess. So the clips themselves, there's how many clips? I guess there's 4 clips. So there's Hot Tub Volcano, there's Windmill Plains, there's Smoky 2, which is a boss race, and then there's actually 5. See, I don't even
Hmm.
remember all of them. There's one in Spaceport Alpha, which is a later track, but it's a Japanese exclusive. And then there's the final boss, Wizpig 2, has an out of bounds clip. I would say so. Hot Top Volcano and Wizpig 2 are very similar. They basically have like, well, in the first one, there's like a lava floor, and you can boost and then barrel roll underneath the lava floor, and it typically pushes you up. But if you do it in a certain spot where you kind of sneak underneath the wall of the track, then you can get out of bounds that way. So, and it's similar for Wizpig 2. I would say those two clips are generally the easier ones. And then maybe the next easiest one is Smoky 2, maybe, which actually we just found out there's a much easier way to do it. We were boosting and barrel rolling at kind of like a seam in a wall, and you could get out that way. But we actually found out recently that by hitting the C right button, you alternate between, I think, speedometer and the map. And by alternating between those two things, you actually can generate a little bit of lag. And so now you don't have to do the barrel roll anymore. So you can just fly towards the seam, boost, and then toggle the speedometer map, and you'll just go like right through the seam. So maybe that one's actually the easier one, but you can do that. And then on Spaceport Alpha, there's like just a hole that's missing in the wall. This is on the Japanese version. They fixed it on all other versions, but on the Japanese version, there's just like a hole in the wall, and it's a little tricky to fly into. But there's a couple different strategies. You can just like you fly up and then you cut the speed and then you just kind of like drop through this hole, or you can bog into the wall just above the hole and then hit a boost, and then you'll just fly through the hole. That one's a little bit tricky, but it's not too bad. The hardest one is probably Windmill Plains, which is very similar to the Smoky 2 one, where you have to boost and barrel roll into like a seam in the wall. But it's a very like it seems like the seams. It seems like the seam is way smaller on that track, so that one's really difficult. A lot of people would say that's probably the most difficult clip in an RTA speedrun. But once you do that, though, the other part of it is once you clip out of bounds, now you have to navigate out of bounds. And things are deloading, other things are loading. Some people rely on looking at the mini map because they have no visual at all. Sometimes their character on screen even disappears. And so learning the fastest route and like flying it efficiently is where you're going to spend like the bulk of your time like practicing. You're going to practice that more than the clip itself. But you could just like I said, you can hold A the whole time, and you can just fly in the most efficient pattern. And then once you get more familiar with flying out of bounds and you understand the route more, then you can start to add barrel rolls, and then just getting that tighter, making sure like you're not doing too many barrels or too few barrels. You're doing just enough. Like on this straight, you might be like, okay, I know that on this straight, I do 3 barrel rolls and then I turn this much, and then I do like another 2 barrel rolls and then turn this much, and then yeah. But I mean, just starting out, like a lot of people when they're first learning those clips, they'll just hold the A button and then just fly around out of bounds, and that's typically faster than doing it normally as well. Not the most optimal, obviously, but I mean, they're still going to be saving time over just flying the course normally.
Got it. So is that like most of the game in terms of execution?
In terms of execution,
like tricks and stuff, and then the tech of driving and flying, I guess.
That's like the biggest pieces of tech is like those out of bounds clips, and of course we use the out of bounds clip to do the trophy storage that I mentioned a while ago. Those are like the two big tricks. If we want to talk about the mini games, there's mini games in adventure mode as well. There's 4 of them. And for 3 in particular of those mini games, 2 of them are a battle mini game. One is I'm not sure if you know it, but it's Fire Mountain, where you have to collect an egg from the center, bring it back to your nest, and then you have to wait for 10 seconds before it will hatch. And then in the meantime, CPUs can steal your egg, and you can steal their egg as long as it hasn't hatched. And so it's kind of like a neat take on a battle mini game. And then the 2 other ones, Icicle Pyramid and Darkwater Beach, are just like just your standard battle mini game where you just fire rockets at each other and you try to eliminate each other. It's similar to the Mario Kart ones. But interesting about those is that we found out that if you are to do the same exact movements, then the CPUs will react the same. And so we can kind of use that to kind of create the quickest routes in eliminating all of the CPUs in like the battle mini games, or the fastest route in collecting the eggs and bringing them to your nest in such a way that the CPUs won't fly near your nest and try to steal your egg, or at least in a way where it's easy to like defend. So there's some like tech around that. Is just like figuring out not which movements you need to make, but also getting it consistent enough so where you can reliably know where the CPUs are going to be at all times. So yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's pretty deep.
Yeah,
there's lots
like
going on for a racing game.
You wouldn't expect it, but
yeah,
I guess that's the
and
benefit
then,
of the kind of free roaming mode. Opens the
yeah,
door to a lot of stuff.
yeah. And then I guess the only other thing is like there's the coin races that I mentioned. So each race you have to do at least twice. There's just the standard race, and then you also would have to do it again and collect these 8 silver coins. And that also adds a really interesting element because there's like no definitive strategy for collecting the 8 coins and then winning the race. Like I can tell you that the way I do some races, some people might do it a different way. And also the strategy is like not the same for on a race by race basis. Sometimes you'll like prioritize the coins, and then on the final 2 laps you'll just focus on racing. Sometimes you'll want to focus on getting bananas first because bananas, they increase your speed. It's very similar to coins in Mario Kart. So sometimes you might want to focus on getting bananas first, and then you're going to be faster throughout the race, and then you can collect the silver coins. Sometimes it's a combination of both. And then when you have the silver coin race, the silver coin races with the out of bounds tracks, then it can really get wonky because you might collect half of them and then do the out of bounds clip and then fly around out of bounds for a bit, and then at some point go back in bounds to collect the last half and then finish the race. So yeah, and everybody does things super different. We've actually been trying to we just recently added silver coin races to the leaderboards. So I'm hoping that we can start to spend more time with the silver coins and see how far we can push those times. So, yeah.
It's just
That's
funny
I think
how,
we've covered like all the tech.
yeah, it's funny you don't want to be collecting bananas in a Mario Kart very backwards, but
Yeah, no. Typically I think that's like gonna be a bad time if
yeah,
you collect bananas in Mario Kart.
yeah, you don't want to touch those, but oh well.
No.
Yeah, game.
But yeah.
And then so how many categories are there for the game?
We have three main ones. So we have all trophy races, which is just
Mhm.
it's like your Mario Kart Grand Prix. Like you just do there's 5 of them. 20 races in total, and you just play through all of them. You don't even have to win. You can
Hmm,
just you
there you go.
can yeah. So it's super easy to get into. And most people who start out racing, speedrunning Diddy Kong Racing, that's what they'll start with,
Mhm.
is all trophy races. And then there's 2 adventure categories. So there's 100%, which is adventure 100%, and then there's any percent, which is super interesting. It cuts out a lot of content from 100%, which Rare is usually like really good at kind of creating these barriers for progression. So it's really hard to like sequence break stuff or like cut a lot of content out of the game. Um, but interestingly, with DKR, you can actually cut out a lot of content. So, for example, um, I mentioned there was 47 gold balloons that you have to collect over the course of a 100% run. There's more stuff you have to collect, but specifically talking about the balloons. In any percent, you can complete adventure mode with 11 balloons.
Hmm.
So you're cutting out quite a bit, and you don't have to do the mini games. It's not required. Um, because there's a really crazy trick that you can do at the end that skips that check. And yeah, so that is a crazy category. Very, very RNG heavy.
Mm.
So most people don't want to start with that one. In fact, that one there are I mean, because it's any percent, it's obviously going to be more glitch heavy.
Mhm.
To finish an any percent run, you would have to do most of those glitches.
Mhm.
So
So
those are the 3 main categories, and then we've got a bunch of other miscellaneous categories. We actually added a bunch of miscellaneous categories recently. Um, so yeah, there's some good ones.
what's the RNG that makes any percent?
Yeah. So I think I mentioned that when you do the wrong warp to do the trophy storage glitch, you can end up in different locations,
Mm.
right?
Okay.
So there's 3 possible locations. You can warp to Dragon Forest world, and you'll be in the car, which is what you would expect. That's when you go to Dragon Forest, you'll end up in the car. That's um, pretty normal, but that's about a 75% chance, roughly. Um, and then you could also warp to the overworld. So where Taj the elephant is, where you kind of start your adventure mode. You have this uh, overworld, so you can warp there, and that's about a 10 to 12.5% chance. I don't know for sure. Um, but then the other option, the last option, is you can warp to Dragon Forest, but in the plane, which is abnormal.
Hmm.
That's that's typically, I mean, that's uh, not how the world works. And then when you spawn in that world with the plane, you can actually fly over the boundary walls, and you can then access any of the races without having to meet their requirements.
Hmm.
Um, and so yeah, so basically, you would need that warp specifically in order to complete the run with the fewest amount of balloons. Otherwise, you would have to collect at least 16 balloons to access one race in Dragon Forest.
Mhm.
So I guess like you could
Which
still
is still any
do,
percent. It's just a lot slower.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
because we're cutting out five races
Got it.
essentially.
Wow.
So there's still some pretty hard tricks in even the 16 balloon version, but yeah. So you kind of need that. You have to get that warp, that 12.5% chance. There's 3 opportunities over the course of an any percent run to get it. So it's not like you've got like one shot at it. If you don't get it the first time, then you're just going to move on to the next part of the run. And then when you go do trophy storage again, you'll do the warp again and see what you get. And then if you don't get it, then you'll go on and do the next part, do trophy storage again, and then you have to get it. If you don't get it, then it's a reset.
Wow.
Or if if your PB is not so great, then you can go back to the race where you do the wrong warp and you can do the wrong warp again, but you're just bleeding time at that point.
Mhm.
So and then the other funny thing is like even now we've found out that the order in which you get the warp matters. Like if you get Dragon Plane, the warp Dragon Plane the first time, like that can be faster or slower than getting it the second time. I can't remember exactly which one is fastest, but even the order in which you get the warps matters at a high level, which is crazy because now you're not just like rolling the dice to get it one time, you're rolling the dice to get it this specific time.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Do you know why it's RNG dependent?
um, I don't think anyone has a definitive answer.
Really?
It's funny. There is a decompilation project that's going on that's almost complete, so we might have an answer. Um, but I, from all the conversations that I've had about it, I can tell you that it's not like just a straight like 12.5% chance. It doesn't work like that. Um, from what I gather, as soon as you load the race in which you would do the wrong warp, it kind of gives you like a pack of possibilities. So, and some of those packs don't even have the plane warp in them. So you could load the track and then do the wrong warp, and you just wouldn't even have a chance at getting that one at all. But then let's say that you do have that warp in the pack, or let's say then you go and do the wrong warp, then it's going to randomly select one of those options from the pack. Is kind of how it was explained to me, but I don't want to say definitively that's what's going on. I I don't know.
Complicated BS. Got it.
Complicated BS. Essentially, you load in the track. There's going to be a set number of possibilities that could be different the next time you load the track. And then once you do the wrong warp, it's going to select from that list of possibilities. Is my understanding of it. But who knows? I could be totally wrong. We're very close to finishing the decompilation project, and I'm sure that's going to be a question that's going to get raised once we figure out more about that. So,
Well, be nice to get some answers. And then those are the 3 possibilities though for the
that's
wrong
kind of like the big holy grail thing in adventure speedruns is trying to find a way to get that warp to be consistent. Yeah, it's not a huge thing. Even in like adventure mode speedruns, it's like it's it has the potential to save 25 seconds. It's not even like a you'll save 25 seconds if you get this trick. Like there's another component onto that that's kind of performance based.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but it would be nice because if you're really good at securing that 25-second time save, then it would be really nice to get that warp consistently.
So saving all those balloons just saves 25 seconds on average?
Oh no, just
okay.
the warp itself in a 100% run. Yeah.
Oh, and
So in any
100%. Okay.
yeah, sorry. So in an any percent run, basically it gives you access to the races in Dragon Forest
Mm-hmm.
without meeting any of the balloon requirements. So
Yeah.
I can explain like the general route for an 80% run.
Okay.
You start the run, and then there's 4 overworld balloons that you're going to fly around and collect. And then you go to the first world, Dino Domain. And then, wait, do you collect 4? No, you collect 3. You collect 3 in the overworld because then you have to do the Dino Domain tracks twice. You do the regular balloon race and then you do the coin races. So altogether, that's 8 plus 3. So there's your 11 balloons right there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, after doing that, that's going to give you access to the trophy race for Dino Domain, the first world, which, as I said, is where you can do trophy storage.
Yeah.
So then for the rest of the run, you're basically going to abuse that trick to get the trophies for each world. You start in Dino Domain, and then you wrong warp out of the last track, and then you go to any other race in another world, and you complete that race, and that gives you the trophy for that world. And getting all 4 gold trophies is what unlocks the last stage of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically what we're trying to just focus. The
Yeah.
problem is that Dragon Forest, to do a track in Dragon Forest, you need a minimum of 16 balloons. So by getting that 12.5% chance or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
the Dragon Plane warp, you can then fly to any of the tracks. We would pick the shortest one. And then we can do that without having the necessary number of balloons. So that's how we would get the trophy for Dragon Forest.
Yeah.
Without it, then we would have to do the 16 balloon route, because then you can just go into the race that requires that many balloons. But yeah, much slower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I see.
So it saves a lot of time in any percent. Mm-hmm. But in a 100% run, it has the potential to save 25 seconds.
I see.
Yeah, because you still have to do everything, right? We're not cutting out any content, but it basically it has the potential to kind of do the races in a certain order that is more efficient.
Just like eliminates routing movement time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Essentially, what we do is when we're doing it in 100%, we would actually fly out of bounds to the first boss, and we would do the first boss first. And then what that does is when we go back to Dragon Forest to do the balloon races and the silver coin races, typically what you'd have to do is you'd have to do all of the balloon races, then you'd have to fight the boss, and then you'd have to do the coin races, and then you'd have to fight the boss a second time. But if we've already beaten the first boss, then once you do the balloon race, the coin race is activated. And there's a trick that I didn't mention yet. It's just a cutscene skip. Basically, if you pause on the last frame of the race, you'll get credit for finishing the race, but then you can exit to lobby and you avoid watching the cutscene of Taj giving you the balloon. But in this specific case, once you finish the balloon race, you can pause on the last frame of the race, and then instead of exiting to lobby, you'll restart the race. So you'll get credit for finishing the balloon race. You don't have to watch the cutscene, and not only that, you'll be spit right back into the coin race version of that race. So that eliminates a lot of overworld movement going from race to race.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but even that only saves 25 seconds, and that's if you get the cutscene skips
Mm-hmm.
because it's a 1 frame trick. You can buffer it, but like I said, DQR is a variable frame rate game, so it can be kind of tricky. But you can buffer it. And if you get all 4 of those cutscene skips and you're able to go right into the coin race, then you'd save your 25 seconds.
A bit
So that's how
complicated,
it works.
but there you go.
I'm telling you, man, it's deep.
Well, I feel like I just took a course on DKR 101, so feeling pretty good.
Bit of a crash course, yeah.
Yeah. It's important to
Uh,
understand, though.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
It's a good time.
yeah.
It's a good time.
Well, I guess we can go back into more of your history running the game because we left off on you getting into it and then went on this detour on to kind of explaining how the run works, so we can go back into your history with it.
Sure. Yeah, I picked it up really early on when I started speedrunning, like within the first year of speedrunning. And I did like a little bit. I didn't really try to get really good. I just did it just for fun. And so I didn't really learn too much of the game. I didn't really learn a lot of the tech. I didn't really learn the tricks. My times weren't particularly good. And then I kind of put it away for a bit, and I was doing some other stuff. Like this was kind of like the part where I haven't really found the game yet, and I don't even really know if I like speedrunning all that much. I'm just kind of like just trying different stuff out and seeing what sticks. And honestly, really just falling in love with the games that I played when I was, a kid. Um, And then, like I said, it wasn't until I went to that IRL event. It was a NASA event, North American Speedrunner Assembly,
I
something
don't
like
think
that.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, I think it's kind of defunct now, but yeah, it was like they were having an IRL event over the course of a weekend, and it was like 15 minutes from where I lived, and yeah, I was like, okay, this looks cool. I submitted a couple things, like the few speed runs that I had done at that point. I submitted, and I was able to show those off. Neither of them were DKR. But I was like, this is fun, and that was actually my introduction to like the other big part of speedrunning is these like IRL gatherings. Which sadly they don't happen anymore here anyway. We used to have like a couple like smaller community meetups, and they don't happen anymore ever since COVID. So
yeah,
that kind of sucks. I wish they would come back, but I digress. And then that's where I met Praxity, and I was just like really impressed with how well he played the game, and it just like really motivated me to get better. So I think it wasn't long after that event that I started dedicating like pretty much all of my time to that. I've had a couple breaks playing different games here and there, but like for nearly 9 years, it was like that game and that's it. And if I got sick of one category, I just moved to another category. If I got sick of that category, I just focused on ILs. And then if I got sick of ILs, I would do time trials. And I would just flip back and forth. And everything reinforced each other. Like the skills that I learned in time trials, which takes away all the boosts, but just except for the zippers. The zippers are still in the course, but the boost balloons are gone. So that stuff like really helps you focus on just the pure mechanics, the pure driving mechanics of each vehicle, which you could then apply back into the RTA world. So like everything just kind of reinforced each other, and I just kept playing the game. And then when was it? So I just kept playing, and I was getting better and better. I was hitting some pretty big personal milestones. And then I just need to double check something. So 5 years ago. So 5 years ago, I kind of embarked on this project to create kind of like we could call it a human theory task, if you will. You can't really task this game. For one, playing it on emulator is like a completely different experience than playing it on console. So anything that we kind of showcased in emulator wouldn't really apply to console speedruns. But I was kind of like always interested, like what would like if I did everything that I could do perfectly, like what time would I get? And so then I kind of embarked on this project where for like almost 3 months, I played like every day for like upwards of 5 to 8 hours a day. It was summertime, so
Yeah.
I wasn't in school, and so I had that extra time. But yeah, for like almost 3 months, like nearly every day, 5 to 8 hours, just grinding every single aspect of 100%. And so I think at the time the world record was 1 hour 46 minutes and 10 seconds by OBO, a fellow Canadian. And when I was finished with the project and I presented it, it was a 1 hour 40 minutes and 12 seconds. So we found a lot of like through that practice, I actually found like some other strats that were potentially like could potentially save like a lot of time. So probably like the thing I'm most proud of as far as like DKR speedrunning goes. And then after that, I started implementing all of this stuff that I learned. Not like some of it was like a little kind of far fetched, maybe more like IL strats, not so much like RTA viable. But most of the stuff was RTA viable that I found. And so like just like super practiced, like then I just like started grinding, and then my times got better and better. I started to challenge for like those top spots. And then I think I got my like first world record in 100% like maybe a year later. Like it took a little while to get it, the consistency down, but I finally got the world record, and then there was a bit of trading back and forth, and then I think I got a really good time, and it stood for a little bit. I don't have the world record now, but yeah, so I had it I think at like 2 or 3 points. And then after 100%, I switched to any percent, and I grinded that and had the world record for quite a while. I actually had the first sub 38 time, which at the time was like pretty huge. And then yeah. And then I still hold the world record in Adventure 2 100%, which is Adventure 100%, but it's the main thing is that it's mirrored. It's the mirrored version. And also the silver coins are way worse. they're in super awful spots, like way off the beaten path, and you still have to collect all 8 and win the race. So all of the strategies that I kind of developed and all the routes for the coin races that I did for 100%, you had to throw that out for Adventure 2.
Mm.
And yeah, so that one's not as contested because obviously that would be really awful for your muscle memory. All of the speedrunning that we do is typically done in just like the normal way. So doing the mirrored mode could potentially like undo all of those years of like muscle memory and stuff like that. So not many people do it. And then kind of towards the end of my 9-year stint, I was actually doing what I call true 100%, which is basically starting from a fresh cart and then doing adventure mode 100% and then unlocking the 2 unlockable characters and then doing adventure 2 100%. So all in one run. So you can imagine how like that would kind of mess with your mind doing the first half of the run this way and then having to mirror your horizontal axis for the last half of the run. Um, but yeah, that's about it. And then I do have a couple IL world records still. They're mostly in out of bounds tracks. For some reason, I just got really, really good at the out of bounds tracks. And then, yeah, over the course of the 9 years, I've done a couple showcases. Like I said, I've done a couple at the local meetups. I've done, I did do ESA Summer Online one time during COVID. And I did GDQ online as well, which was a lot of fun. I wish I did it on stage, but kind of like the peak of my Diddy Kong racing performance just so happened to be during COVID. So it's a bit of a bummer. And then, yeah, I'm actually preparing, or I'm not preparing. I should be preparing for a showcase coming up at No Reset, which is an IRL event in Montreal or close to Montreal.
Yeah, I've heard
so
of
that's
that.
happening first weekend of September. So I should probably get on that.
So
because I haven't played
all
it
of your
in a couple
showcases
months.
have been this game.
Pretty much. I've showcased some other stuff like World Tour, which was pretty much the first speed game that I've done. I've done Airblade. I actually have it here. Airblade. I tried playing this not too long ago. It's not good.
Okay.
It's not good. Yeah. I had very fond memories playing this growing up. It's like a hoverboard game, but it's a little bit more story based. It's not like a Tony Hawk sort of thing. But it's a hoverboard. Like how cool is that, right? Like how can you mess that up? But yeah, I did a recent playthrough of it and it didn't hold up. So but I've done a showcase of this game. I've probably done some other stuff, but I don't remember.
And then were they all the runs of DKR events the same categories, or did you do multiple different ones?
No, I've done them all. I've done for GDQ it was a all trophy races race. So it was between me and 2 other people, my good friends Sweener and OBO. And that was actually a wild race. If you haven't seen that, I don't want to like toot my own horn, but like that's got to be like one of the best races GDQ's ever had because all 3 of us finished within 3 seconds.
I did hear about
of each other.
I think back then.
So like, yeah, go watch it. It was a good race. It was a good race. I did 100% for ESA. I've done any percent for a number of events. I've also recently, I'm pretty sure I've done Adventure 2 100% for some online event. I want to say it was maybe Power Up with Pride, but I'm not quite sure. And then I've even done True 100% for a really, really long-a-thon.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So
Done a
literally
couple
all
of
of them.
retro gaming live showcases. Yeah. Got quite a few of them under my belt. I used to like I used to go hard on those. Like I just like every like if marathon was advertised, I'm shooting my shot. And I've done like so many. It's slowed down a little bit now. I don't do as many. Especially now that I'm like kind of out of practice. But yeah. I would like to show off like other games, but like I don't know. Like I haven't it's really hard to speedrun and commentate at the same time. I've done it so much with Diddy Kong Racing that like it's just kind of like second nature to me. Like it's Diddy Kong Racing is still like a very like taxing game to play just mentally. But for some reason I've done it so much that I can do the commentary like no problem. But like for some of the other games that I want to show off, I feel like I can't do that, and like the showcase kind of suffers because of it. But I would like to show off some other games. There's been a couple newer ones that I've done. Oh, one of the recent ones I've done is Super Mario Wonder, which you might appreciate, Mr. 2D Mario guy.
Yeah, NES, but you know, close enough, I guess.
Yeah, there's a little bit more going on in 2D Marios these days.
Yes.
Not like not that I mean I appreciate NES Mario for its simplicity because you don't have as many tools as runners do now. But yeah, I speedran Super Mario Wonder for a bit. I had a great time playing that, and I did get to do a showcase of that. But yeah. But honestly, like for like the 9 or 10 years that I've been doing it, it's just been Diddy Kong Racing.
Well, there's got to be some other games in there somewhere, right?
Yeah, I mean, okay. Well, the other game that I got like kind of good at was Kirby 64. I think at one point I got like second on the leaderboard for any percent. And I don't know what I'm at now. I might be like 9th or 10th now. But I grinded that game a lot. Yeah, other than DKR, that's maybe like the only game that I like really grinded. There were some other games that I like did a little bit, but I didn't really. Honestly, like it was like a month to 2 month stints maybe, and then it's like okay, did that, go back to DKR and do some more stuff. It's just kind of been DKR.
Now we're talking
And I
about
want
any of the
to.
other stuff.
Pardon?
Now we're talking about the other stuff.
I mean, not to the same extent that I can DKR. I don't think I'm definitely like more of the DKR guy. I mean, Kirby 64 essentially is like you just the whole tech in that game, especially for any percent, is you just use the fire ability because it's the fastest way to move to the right in a somewhat state of invincibility. You can just like crush through enemies and you just keep moving to the right. There's like a little bit of like tech with like some of the bosses, but I don't think I can remember much of it. It's been a long time since I've played it. Even that game has changed a lot now. There's a RNG manip for that game. I'm not sure if you are familiar with Kirby 64 at all, but
not very much, no.
From my understanding, there's like for one, there's like certain boss patterns that are advantageous. So if you can manipulate that, that good. I think there's also when enemies spawn in, they can have like different micro positioning or something. Like they can spawn in roughly the same area, but it can be different sometimes. And so when you're using the fire ability, it lasts for like a certain amount of time and then you just keep spamming it, but there's going to be these like brief moments where you're not invincible because you're not in the middle of using the power up. And so these kind of like tiny fluctuations in like enemy positioning could be a problem. And so yeah, they found a way that you can control the amount of RNG by controlling Kirby's movements. Um and then like what else? Like there'll be times where like you're waiting for like a mini boss to like spawn in and you're just like ducking because ducking will advance like one. I don't even know the terms, but like it'll advance the RNG to like the next thing. I don't know. I'm not even sure if this is making sense, but it's changed. Like I've thought about going back to Kirby 64 recently, um, and possibly learning that, but that seems pretty complicated. Um, what else? Super Mario Wonder was like the first 2D Mario game that I speed ran, and there was some pretty cool stuff going on there. I didn't learn like the super glitched categories. I'm sure you're familiar, but there was like a way that you could like freely roam like the overworld, and you could skip kind of well, you could skip worlds 2 through 4,
Mhm.
and you could just like go straight to world 5 and world 6. I don't even know how many, I can't remember how many worlds there are, but the to get to Bowser's castle, the game only checked if you got the last 2 royal seeds, and of course you could do that by doing this glitch, although it's probably been patched by now. But but I just did the all royal seeds category, so I just played through um the worlds normally. I don't even
Mhm.
remember if there was any glitches that I did. There was some really cool movement in that game. Some of the most satisfying movement in a speed game for me. There's like so many tools you could do with the fluttering and the what was the main power up in that game? Like the bubble. You could just like hop on bubbles the whole time, but it was there was like a rhythm to it.
Mhm.
And and then there's the different badges as well. So like there was the cap badge where you could like, or the parachute cap uh, badge where you could like float, um, which there was like some really cool tech with that. You didn't want to use it all the time because it was slower than obviously running on the ground. But if you're trying to like make like tight jumps or fit into like really tight areas, you can like just pop out the parachute slightly, and then you eventually like switched over to the speed badge where you could like run faster. Oh yeah, I should go back to that game too. I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah, I speed ran some games in my day.
Mhm.
I think as much as I do want to go back to like some of the older games that I speed ran, I think once I finish this project that I'm currently on, uh, I really want to learn Banjo Kazooie 100%.
Mhm.
I've been saying that it's like been a bucket list game for like so long, for years, and I just never gotten around to learning it. But I think I'm gonna finally do it. I think I'm gonna do it after I finish this.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
then don't have to go into detail, but just any other games, just one shot fun thing you remember.
Hmm.
Because I think your
Gosh,
profile had some other stuff on it. I did look. I usually look.
I don't even remember. Oh, Ollie Ollie World. That's a really cool game. Have you seen that game before?
Is it a like skateboarding thing?
It's a skateboarding game. It's like I would liken it to like a 2D Mario, but like on a skateboard. So you're just
Oh,
like
then no,
so
I have no idea.
it's 2D and the worlds are like beautiful.
Mm,
And you have to jump over obstacles and like wall ride and grind and
mm,
all this stuff. And there's actually a really cool skip um in that game, one of the later levels, because it's kind of like there's like branching paths, and so like you can like work on trying to find the best route from the top of the level to the end of the level. And then there's one level towards the end where you have to cycle around this part of the course, but each time you go around, it changes. So
mm,
it's like it's not like you're stuck in this loop, but like you're stuck in this loop that's like ever evolving.
mm.
Um, but there's a little gap between um there's a little gap between you have to jump. How do I explain this? So you have to jump on these platforms, and when you touch them, they go down, right? And so with each pass of the circuit, you're creating a bigger hole that you eventually fall down, and then that takes you to the end of the level, right?
Mm.
But there's already a little gap between the track and those platforms that move down. And so if um you're already kind of moving too fast for you to like fit between that tiny gap. So what you do is there's a checkpoint literally right before that gap. So um once you hit the checkpoint, you restart from the checkpoint, which like sets your speed back down to 0. And then you don't like push or anything. You don't gain any speed. You just go as slow as you possibly can. And then even going super slow, you have to perfectly time a jump to fit through this gap. And then you can skip having to do
Hmm.
the circuit in this level. And that's literally the only instance of like a skip in that game. But it's cool that there's at least one.
And you said it's
Um,
Ollie World?
Ollie Ollie World. Yeah.
Ollie World.
There's a it was an older game. There was like 2 iterations of it. But then when did this game come out? But then there was a new one in 2022.
Hmm.
Yeah, really good. It's for like all the platforms. But yeah.
Hmm.
So I
Interesting.
grinded that one for a bit. I do have the world record in that game
Hmm.
in any percent anyway. What else have I done? Oh, Snowboard Kids 2.
No, I've heard of
Snowboard
that.
Kids 2. Yeah, Snowboard Kids 2 is also awesome. Another racing game, and it's unique in that some other snowboarding games it's like you just start at the top of the mountain and then you
Mm-hmm.
go to the bottom and then it's done, right? But they actually implemented a lap system. So once you get to the bottom, you have to go to the chairlift,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get taken up to the top of the mountain, and then you have to do another lap. So it's on a 3 lap system. But the cool thing about that is sometimes you're like jostling for the to get to the chairlift first. Because if you get to the chairlift, there's a certain amount of time that before the next chair comes. So
Mm.
if you're like neck and neck with someone and you hit the chairlift first, then you immediately start the next lap with like a little bit of a buffer, like a 5 second buffer or something like that.
Imagine a chairlift.
Yeah, yeah. So a little bit of a lap system. There's also some mini games in that one that are really cool. You get to deliver papers.
Mm.
You miss the bus, so you have to race to get to school before the first bell or something like that.
Frame
There's a
rules
trick
everywhere.
competition. Yeah, yeah. Uh, yeah,
Yeah, that's where I was
yeah,
going with it.
yeah, yeah. No, it took me a little bit, but I'm familiar with a little bit
Mm-hmm.
of Super Mario Bros. Speedrunning. Um, there's boss races in that game too.
Mm.
So like that one's like pretty cool. Honestly, like there's a lot of games that I speedrun that are like there's not a lot of tricks or like glitches. So in my mind, they're like not as interesting as DKR, um but there's some good games there. Snowboard Kids 2 is one of my all-time favorites. It's definitely a hidden gem.
Mm-hmm. I know it has good multiplayer. Definitely seen some
Uh
people playing it.
yeah,
Snowboard Kids, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oddly enough, I have not played the first one. I've only played the
Mm-hmm.
second one. And I'm in the middle of playing through all of the N64 games. So eventually I will get a chance to play it. So, um, oh gosh, I'm kind of going down memory lane here. One of the early games that I speedran was Skate.
Mm.
I was like super into like extreme sports growing up. So a lot of like the most nostalgic games for me are like those types of games.
I have a
So
big nostalgia for Skate 3 because of how absurd it was.
yeah, Skate
Like
3 is pretty absurd.
I don't care about skateboarding, but something about that game is just magical.
So I put a lot of time into Skate, the original one. I did do speedruns of Skate 3, but again, I didn't like that one as much because there was a lot of glitches in that
Mm.
one.
Yeah, I actually know
And for
nothing
some
about the
reason,
first two games. I only know about the third game. That's the one
oh,
everyone talks
really?
about. Yeah.
I know in Skate 3, there's like a speed glitch that you can get, and I'm sure like
Yes.
if anybody's seen clips of Skate 3 of like some of these like trick jumps or whatever, it usually starts with them performing this speed glitch.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the reason why I never got into it is because it was a lot easier to perform this glitch on Xbox, and I was playing on a PlayStation 3, so
Mm.
maybe that's why I didn't get as much into it. Um,
Yeah, it's a
but yeah,
really cool speed glitch because you can always teleport the board back to you, and you like do it under your character in like a weird ragdoll way, or like he's stuck
Mhm.
in the floor. I don't know. It's, but yeah, just we. It's so fast.
Yeah. Um, and like on a side note, it kind of amazes me like the longevity that Skate has had. Like I'm still like seeing like Skate content to this
Mm-hmm.
day, like people doing various challenges, trying to jump this gap or that gap or whatever.
I thought
Um,
Skate 3 was like a perfect game for what it was. It's just so ridiculous.
yeah, I think it's really good. And like, have you looked into the new one at all? There's like a
I've
new one
heard
coming out.
about it, but I don't know. I think a old friend of mine got like access to the alpha or something. I don't
Mm.
know, but he couldn't disclose information about it, so I know next to nothing.
It seems like just a it. It seems like Skate 3, like
Well,
the
that
same sorts of
huge.
things.
It's a huge W in my
So
book then.
yeah, but I mean that's about it.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much covers like the extent of what I speedrun. Um, but yeah, like my main project right now is just going through all these N64 games. There's a couple exceptions. We're not playing the Japanese exclusives because a lot of those are like RPGs, very text heavy,
Mm-hmm.
and those might be a little bit difficult for me to play. Someone who doesn't know Japanese at all. So we're not doing that, and sadly, no Hey You Pikachu unless I find some way of getting a microphone working. Because as far as I know, you have to use the microphone for that game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're doing that. We this is the most I've streamed in like a long time. I've been putting in like 6, 7 hour days like 6 days a week, just
Mm.
grinding through all of these games, and it's been a lot of fun. We've been raising money for Rainbow Railroad, which is a really cool charity that basically helps support people through relocation. They're maybe in a um, they're in an environment that is kind of hostile towards LGBTQ people, and so this organization, they help people relocate. They help them with housing, food, essentials, whatever they might need throughout this process of finding safety and security. And so we're doing that while we're playing a lot of these classic games. So it's been a good time.
Yeah. And I know the Beast is doing something very similar.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's been doing it for years, but he's beating every N64 game, like all of them.
Oh, oh, that's awesome. I'm not committing to beating every single one.
Okay,
There's
that's what I
definitely
was gonna
been some.
ask. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Um, there's if the game is really good, I'm gonna beat it. I spent 3 sessions just finishing Paper Mario.
Mm-hmm.
I think it took me like 24 hours. We definitely took a hit on the stream game ratio playing that one, but we definitely beat that one because that was amazing. I've never
Yeah.
played Paper Mario before. That was one of the ones that I missed growing up.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of like the other aspect of this is like as much as I love the N64, I've played very few games from it. So I'm hoping to find a lot of hidden gems as I go through this. But we've also played some stinkers. Some of the worst ones I've played so far is probably not a shocker, Superman 64.
Yeah.
It's pretty awful. I think I'm committed to playing at least one game, like every game for at least an hour. And I think we played an hour of that, and
Never again.
on to the next one.
Yeah.
On to the next one. Mission Impossible was also really awful. I love the Bond games. GoldenEye. A lot of people say GoldenEye is kind of aged ungracefully, but I still really like that game, and I've had a lot of fun playing it. And we also played The World Is Not Enough, which excuse me, I didn't like as much, but I still thought it was a pretty decent game. But Mission Impossible, man, awful. If you like those like spy mission type games, you can probably skip it. Not good. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been up to lately.
Do you know how many games you are through?
Yeah, we there's 303 games in total that we're doing, and we've completed 32 so far in 16 days.
So you haven't been doing this that long?
No, just started, pretty much.
And when you say beat, you don't mean complete. You mean have played the hour or more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Some it's more. Sometimes it's less if it's like a series of games, specifically the sports ones. Like we played through 5 wrestling games the other day, in the WCW series, and we just played. We just went back and forth between those 5 games for an hour and called it. So it's definitely not like a completionist type thing. It's not really the point of this thing, but I've, if the game is really good, I'm gonna keep playing it. We also played through Conker's Bad Fur Day. That took me about 13 hours to complete. Yeah, there's some incentives to 100% a couple of the more classic games. Banjo-Kazooie, Ocarina of Time. The whole thing's going to culminate with Mario Party 1, 2, and 3. So I'm thinking that if we hit our goals, we might do an all faces playthrough of Mario Party 3, which takes like 26 hours.
Oh.
Maybe not in one sitting. Because like I said, I'm getting old. But But yeah, it's fun. It's a
Yeah.
good time.
Sounds
Maybe I'll
like
find a good speed game.
it's a good way of doing it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
kind of sounds like that's everything, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if
It's
there's
kind of been
anything you want to talk about that we didn't, I mean, let me know. So
no, I think we talked about we touched briefly upon pretty much every aspect of my speedrunning career.
mhm.
Primarily Diddy Kong Racing.
Yeah.
I'm very passionate about that game. I'm kind of burnt out on it now, but I still love talking about it. I'm still love uh
I'm happy to have gotten the
hyping it
crash
up.
course. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
well, yeah, I guess we can wrap it up here then. If you're satisfied with everything,
Yeah.
because that's the most important part. Want to make sure you talked about everything you wanted to. So,
Yeah, no, this was fun.
yeah.
It was nice going down memory lane.
Mhm. So I just have two things left to ask before ending then, and the first thing is just any future plans in terms of streaming and content and speedrunning.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing my N64 project now. I imagine that's going to take me a really long time. My goal was to finish it this summer, but that was that's not a realistic goal. So I imagine we'll probably be doing that for the rest of the year. And then after this, I'm going to go back to speedrunning. Like I said, I really want to do Banjo Kazooie, but if maybe a game catches my eye throughout this process, maybe we'll do that. I don't know. All I know is I do want to get back to speedrunning. I think I'm like, my roadblock has been learning a new game. I feel like I don't have as much time to dedicate to learning. If I want to speedrun, I just want to speedrun something that I already know. Just
Mhm.
uh just do it for fun. But I think I want to learn something new and possibly go on a new grind and see how well I do. I think BK could be that game,
Mhm.
but you never know. So that's kind of my plan for the future.
Got it. And then for these future plans, where can people find you to watch?
Yeah, so I stream on Twitch primarily. I have been streaming on YouTube as well, but um, you can find me on Twitch, tridenttail, and you can also find me on Blue Sky, tridenttail.ca. I also have a website, tridenttail.ca. That kind of amalgamates all of the things that I'm into. One of them being music.
Hmm.
I have a music blog where I talk about albums, past and present. So if you're like to read up on that kind of stuff, that's something I'm pretty passionate about. But I should have links to like all my socials there, my Instagram, Blue Sky, my Discord. All of that can be found at tridenttail.ca.
And
Yeah,
I'll link that in the YouTube description as well. So
sick.
I'll make it easy. But yeah, I think that's everything. I think we're done
Thank you
here.
so much, man.
Yeah, no
It
problem.
was fun.
Well, I'll go ahead and close things out here. Thank everyone for watching, continuing to support the show after I think this is like 130 episodes now or something.
Good for
Good.
you.
It's been a time, but I'm not sick of it yet. It's been a good 2.5 years so far, and there's a lot of people out there that have fascinating speedrunning backstories, and I like to learn as much as possible. So yeah, just thanks as always, and we'll see you next week. And take care. Yep, bye everyone.